Hello, you have made it to day 3 of the Anti-Anxiety Bootcamp. And I am so glad that you are here and that you've made it this far. And today we're going to go over some tools to overcome your anxiety. So these are things that you can do when you start noticing that you're getting anxious, to stop that cycle so that you can perform at your peak. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is focus. And this is something that is a lifelong, constant skill that we are working on, is getting our focus where we want it, when we want it. And how do we do that? Through mindfulness. So of course, we're going to tie mindfulness into this. So by being aware, that's the first step, is just an awareness of what are my thoughts, awareness of what's going on around me, and then being aware of how you are responding and how your horse is responding. So part of this mindfulness is being aware when you start having those thoughts that tend to trigger your anxiety. So being aware that, I'm kind of thinking about the outcome of this next competition. I'm noticing that my muscles are getting tense. I'm noticing that my thoughts are, they're not being productive. This isn't helpful. So just the first step is really just being aware. Because if we're not aware of our thoughts and mindful of the thoughts that are happening, we can't do anything about it. So once you are aware of, I'm feeling anxious, I notice my breathing is getting fast and shallow, my heart is racing, and my stomach is churning, being aware that this is happening and taking a minute to take a break and step away and evaluate and think to myself, okay, what can I do about this right now? Maybe I need to take a little break, get a drink of water, get something to eat before I show so that I keep calm and on task. And also being aware that we can only think of one thing at a time. Now, when we ride horses, it seems like we're doing a lot all at once. We're worrying about where are our hands, where are our feet, where is our eyes up, our heels down. We're doing multiple things at once. So we can only focus on one task at a time. So if we are having thoughts of, I'm never going to get that lead change, or my horse is going to run right through the stops again, then we're not focusing on what we are doing right now in this moment. And that all ties back to mindfulness. One thought at a time. Focus on what you are doing right now, what actions you need to take right now to achieve what it is that you need to achieve with your horse. And going back to yesterday's, get out of your head, get in the saddle, be in the moment. So that's my little mindfulness soapbox. I'll step down now. The next thing that is really a concrete, easy to do thing, but we all seem to forget how to do it, is breathing. And it is so amazing how something that we automatically do that is essential for our everyday life is something that as soon as we start feeling anxious and nervous, what do? We hold our breath. How many of you have had a trainer or an instructor, somebody say, quit holding your breath, breathe, take a deep breath? And how many of you ever noticed if you're having that and you realize, I just need to take a deep breath, and you pause and you stop and you just sit and you big breath in and a big breath out? How many of you notice your horse does the same thing? Seriously, go out there and try it sometime. The next time that you're getting frustrated or you feel like you're stuck with your horse and you're, having emotions that are not what you really want to have, stop and take a big deep breath and see if your horse does the same. Now, when we're talking about breathing, it does a couple of things. When we stop and take a breath, I don't mean really take a breath. And I want you to focus, since we can only think of one thing at a time, focus on your breath. And what really helps to do is a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And one thing that's really simple to do is breathe in, count to 4, hold it for 2, breathe out to 6. So we'll do it together. It's in through your nose, count to 4, like as you're breathing in. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, hold for 2, out through your mouth, And you're going to count to 6 as you breathe out. So making it a really deep breath, drawing deep, like belly breaths. Have you ever, like when you're sitting there, put your hand on your belly. If when you breathe in, your hand doesn't go up and down, then you're not doing a belly breath, you're breathing in your chest. And that big huffing, that takes a lot of energy. And you're not getting oxygen that you need to get into your body. And when we take that deep breath, we get the oxygen where it needs to go, we can get more oxygen to our brain, it's going to shift your body's response from that survival mode to the relaxation mode. So that big deep breath in through your nose, hold for 2, out through your mouth. Make sure you're drawing that breath as deep into your lungs as you can. And then as you're doing it, thinking only about, I'm breathing in, I'm feeling my chest expand, I'm feeling my belly move. And then when you breathe out, just that relaxing. And really important to blow out through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. So that you get that really deep, deep breath in and out. And practicing that will really, really help. Another thing that'll help too is, because we forget to breathe more in the show pen, is planning spots where we're going to breathe. So most events have places where there's pauses, natural pauses. So in reining, it's that hesitate between maneuvers. If it's like after, you spin to the left, hesitate. Plan to take a deep breath there. If it's in a trail class, in between obstacles, it can be if you are about to work the gate, when you stop, you're about to reach over and open the gate, just breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Plan to breathe at these pauses. If it's a cutting class, it can be between cattle. If it's a Western pleasure class, it can be when you reverse directions. Find a spot where you are planning to breathe and then do it. And that will help, so that as you're in the pen, to kind of reground you, get you back in the moment, so that you're not focusing so much on the outcome and the other things that tend to trigger our anxieties. So that's kind of the 2 big tools, is being aware, being mindful, practicing mindfulness, and then breathing. And then also attached with this course is the Get Gritty Guide to Pressure Proof Your Performance. And this is a couple-page workbook that goes step by step of some additional things that you can do to be more prepared, so that you're not feeling pressure and anxiety when you go show. So one way to do that is by setting practice goals. And these are going to be specific goals, so that you are kind of mimicking that show environment of having pressure and things to, like, that are, you're really worrying about the outcome. So you're kind of putting outcomes on your practice so that you are used to riding under pressure. And then this will also help you, for those of you that notice that you ride better at home than you do at a show, because it's going to change your mindset that the practice rides are just as important as competition rides. The competition rides aren't more important, so you're not adding an extra outcome or meaning to your competition rides. So that way you're not feeling that change in pressure between when you ride at home and when you ride at shows. And so to do this, to start adding some pressure to your practice rides, you're going to set a goal that you will achieve during each practice ride. So it's something that is achievable, but should be a little bit of a stretch. Should be something that you have to go a little bit out of that comfort zone to achieve. So it could be, I'm going to maintain straightness in a side pass over the poles, and I'm not going to tick the poles with Breezy. Those of you that know Breezy and me know that he's kind of a little bit klutzy, and getting control of his feet and working on side passing with straightness over the poles for our trail classes is like one of my big things for this summer, really working on with him. It could be, whatever specific thing that you're working on. And it's better if it is something that you will do in the show pen, something that you will have to do, so that your pressure is similar between what you're doing at home. The pressure you put on yourself at home is similar to the pressure in the show pen. So you're going to make these specific goals, and then you're going to really kind of analyze then your thoughts So another part of this is that the negative thoughts are related to being unable to perform. Like your anxieties are self-doubts about your ability to perform in the show pen. So we're going to instead, when we mindfully notice that we're having these negative thoughts that are leading to anxiety, that we don't have the skills and abilities to achieve whatever it is that we're trying to do, then we're going to replace it. So if, for example, my negative thought is, every single time that we side pass over a pole, we knock the poles all everywhere, we tick them every single time, we're not straight. As soon as I notice myself having these, then I'm going to replace that with a positive thought instead. So instead it could be, yeah, I know we can do this, we can be straight, we did it in practice last week. So that when I go to show, we're gonna replace that negative thought with something positive that is believable. It has to be something believable for your positive affirmations to be effective, and should relate to what your practice goals are at home, when you write at home, to what you have to do in the show pen. Another way that you can add pressure to your practice rides is to video them and review them with a trainer or another riding friend that you have. So that, and I don't know what it is about that red record light, but when that red record light is on, you feel more pressured to ride better at home. So that is another way to add pressure to your rides at home, and then make your competition pressure just as kind of just the same as your practice pressure. Another step in that workbook is you're going to create action goals for show day. So instead of, I want to win first place in my trail class, my action goal for Breezy and I is going to be, I'm going to side pass straight over the poles without ticking them. That's going to be my action goal. So then that way I'm focusing on the actual action I'm going to take in the show pen, rather than, oh, I'm never going to get first place. So that's another way to help, overcome your competition anxieties. So this is in that little workbook. And the last thing is to help you prevent the overthinking, the paralysis by analysis. You're going to choose a power word. So you're going to think back, this is kind of a fun exercise, to a time that you rode really well. And you're going to choose a power word or even a power phrase that reminds you of that ride. So it might be that your best ride was a trail ride, gathering cattle in the fall, and your power word might be fall colors, power phrase, to remind you of that fall trail ride when you were just relaxed and it was nice weather and everything went smoothly. So fall colors might be your power word to remind you of that feeling, so that before you go into the show pen, instead of overthinking about all the bad things that have happened, all the things that could go wrong, if you're comparing to the rider that went before you, instead of doing all that, you're going to replace it with your power word. And by going back to that, you're going to trigger that memory and repeat it to yourself, and that'll just help really to overcome that anxiety. And it should be something that is very personal to you. Everyone's power word's not going to be the same, or the power phrase. It's got to be really specific to you and your horse and your situation. So please go on and download that workbook so that you can go through the steps and kind of have that outline to really plan for when you ride, on how you are going to pressure proof yourself and your performance and overcome your anxiety. And again, if you guys have any questions, please hop into the Bootcamps group and ask, or press the button up at the top of this page to send me a message and ask a question. I'd love to help you out to make sure that you can overcome your anxieties and ride with calm and confidence. Thank you very much for completing the bootcamp. Congratulations.